Imagine this. Every volcano on Earth erupts, not just one or two, but every single one, at the same time. Kaboom! The ground would shake, the air would be filled with the roar of explosions. It would be the biggest fireworks show ever, but not a good one. The night sky would be lit up with fiery plumes. From the fiery depths of the Pacific's Ring of Fire to the slumbering giants beneath Yellowstone, no region would be spared. Our planet would erupt in a symphony of chaos. Mountains would crumble, skies would darken, and the sun would be blotted out. The very air we breathe would turn thick with ash and despair. Sounds terrifying, right? Imagine trying to breathe through a mask of soot. But could it actually happen? Scientists have studied volcanic activity for years. The short answer is probably not. The likelihood of every volcano erupting simultaneously is extremely low. Volcanoes aren't exactly synchronized swimmers. They have their own schedules, dictated by the movements of tectonic plates and magma chambers. They don't coordinate their eruptions. Each one is an individual event, a unique expression of the Earth's inner workings. But let's imagine, just for a moment, that they did. What if every volcano on Earth decided to erupt in unison? What would happen to our pale blue dot? The consequences would be catastrophic, altering the course of life as we know it. Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to take a wild ride through a volcanic apocalypse. The Earth would be transformed into a hellscape, a testament to the raw power of nature. Volcanoes are like Earth's pressure valves. Deep beneath our feet, it's hot, hot, hot. Molten rock called magma churns and bubbles. Pressure builds. Sometimes that pressure needs release. Boom! Eruption. Now imagine that happening everywhere, all at once. The sheer volume of ash and gas spewed into the atmosphere would be unimaginable. We're talking about massive amounts of sulfur dioxide, a gas that reflects sunlight back into space. This would lead to a rapid cooling effect, potentially plunging the planet into a volcanic winter. Don't get too excited about snowball fights just yet though. This kind of winter wouldn't be any fun. Okay, so the volcanoes have erupted. What happens next? Well, for anyone living near an active volcano, it wouldn't be pretty. We're talking rivers of molten lava, devastating pyroclastic flows, superheated gas and ash clouds, and earthquakes that could level entire cities. But the chaos wouldn't stop there. Remember all that ash we talked about? It would blanket everything, choking out crops, collapsing roofs, and grounding airplanes. Breathing would become a luxury, especially for those with respiratory problems. And the worst part, this would just be the beginning of our troubles. Remember those sulfur dioxide clouds? They wouldn't just block out the sun for a few days. We're talking about months, maybe even years of reduced sunlight. Global temperatures would plummet, throwing the planet into a state of chaos. Crops would fail, animals would starve, and the delicate balance of our ecosystems would be thrown into complete disarray. Imagine a world where summers feel like winters, and winters are unbearably harsh. That's the reality we'd be facing in a volcanic winter. The very fabric of our civilization, built on agriculture and predictable seasons, would begin to unravel. Section 5. A Changed World. Reshaping Geography. Volcanic eruptions are nature's way of rearranging the furniture, and in this scenario, she's going all out. Entire islands could be born from the fiery depths, while others vanish beneath the waves. Coastlines would be redrawn as lava flows meet the sea, creating new landmasses and altering ocean currents. Mountains would crumble and rise again in different forms, forever changing the face of our planet. It would be a world both terrifying and awe-inspiring, a testament to the raw power slumbering beneath our feet. Section 6. Life finds a way, adapting to a new reality. It's easy to get lost in the doom and gloom of a volcanic apocalypse, but let's not forget about life's incredible ability to adapt. While many species would struggle to survive in this new, harsher world, others would thrive. Extremophiles, those hardy creatures that laugh in the face of boiling water and toxic fumes, would find themselves with a whole lot more real estate. Plants with a high tolerance for volcanic soil would flourish, paving the way for new ecosystems to emerge. And who knows what evolutionary marvels might arise from the ashes of this global catastrophe. Section 7. The Human Cost. A test of resilience. There's no sugarcoating it. A global volcanic event would be catastrophic for humanity. The sheer scale of destruction would be unlike anything we've ever faced. entire cities could be buried under layers of ash, and the sky could be darkened for months, if not years. Millions, perhaps billions, could perish in the initial chaos and the long, harsh years that follow. The immediate impact would be devastating, but the long-term consequences could be even more severe. The ash and gases released into the atmosphere could lead to a volcanic winter, drastically lowering global temperatures and disrupting weather patterns. Food shortages, disease, and social unrest would become the norm. Crops would fail, leading to widespread famine. The healthcare system would be overwhelmed by the influx of patients suffering from respiratory issues and other ailments caused by the ash. Social structures could collapse under the strain, leading to increased violence and instability. But humans are nothing if not resilient. Throughout history, we have faced seemingly insurmountable challenges and found ways to overcome them. Communities would band together, pooling their resources and knowledge to survive. Volunteers and aid workers would play a crucial role in providing relief and support to those in need. We're a species that has stared down countless challenges throughout history, from ice ages to plagues, and emerged stronger on the other side. Our ability to adapt and innovate has been our greatest strength. In the face of adversity, we have always found ways to rebuild and move forward. In the face of a volcanic apocalypse, our ingenuity, our empathy, and our unyielding will to survive would be pushed to their absolute limits. Scientists and engineers would work tirelessly to develop new technologies and strategies to mitigate the impact of the disaster. Communities would come together, offering support and comfort to one another in times of need. We would need to come together as a global community, sharing resources, knowledge, and hope to rebuild our shattered world. International cooperation would be essential, as no single nation could tackle such a monumental challenge alone. By working together, we could not only survive, but thrive, creating a more resilient and united world for future generations. Section 8. Lessons learned. Embracing preparedness. While a simultaneous eruption of all volcanoes is highly unlikely, the threat of volcanic activity is very real. Just look at the recent eruption in Tonga, which sent shockwaves across the globe. These events serve as stark reminders of the awesome power of nature and the importance of being prepared. Investing in early warning systems, creating robust evacuation plans, and educating the public about volcanic hazards can save countless lives when disaster strikes. Moreover, understanding the science behind volcanic eruptions can help us mitigate their impact on our planet. By studying these fiery giants, we can learn to better predict their behavior and develop strategies to minimize the risks they pose to our civilization. Section 9. Our unbreakable spirit. A hopeful conclusion. The thought of all volcanoes erupting at once is terrifying, no doubt. The sheer magnitude of such an event would be catastrophic, altering landscapes, climates, and lives in unimaginable ways. The sky would darken with ash, and the ground would tremble under the force of nature's fury. It's a scenario that sends shivers down the spine, a reminder of the raw power that lies beneath our feet. But it's also a reminder of our place in the grand scheme of things. From the vastness of space, our planet is a beautiful, dynamic entity, constantly evolving and reshaping itself. The forces that drive volcanic eruptions are the same forces that have shaped our world over millennia, creating mountains, islands, and fertile lands. We are but a small part of this grand, ever-changing tapestry. We live on a dynamic, ever-changing planet, and we're constantly adapting to its rhythms and its rages. Throughout history, humanity has faced countless natural disasters, from earthquakes to hurricanes, and each time, we've found ways to rebuild and move forward. Our ability to adapt is one of our greatest strengths, allowing us to survive and thrive in the face of adversity. While a volcanic apocalypse would test us like never before, it's important to remember that humanity has an incredible capacity for resilience, innovation, and compassion. In times of crisis, communities come together, pooling resources and knowledge to overcome challenges. Innovations in technology and science provide new solutions, while acts of compassion and solidarity remind us of our shared humanity. By embracing science, fostering global cooperation, and never losing sight of our shared humanity, we can overcome even the most daunting challenges and create a brighter future for ourselves and generations to come. Scientists around the world are constantly working to understand and mitigate the impacts of natural disasters, and their efforts are bolstered by international collaboration and support. Together, we can build a more resilient and hopeful world. Remember, folks, even in the face of a volcanic apocalypse, there's always hope. Hope is the light that guides us through the darkest times. the force that drives us to keep going, no matter how tough the journey. It's the belief that, no matter what happens, we have the strength and the will to overcome, and that's something worth fighting for. Our future is not just a matter of survival, but of thriving and building a world where we can all flourish. By working together, supporting one another, and never losing sight of our shared goals, we can create a future filled with hope, resilience, and endless possibilities.